Good day to you. Welcome to Hug Nation Live. I'm John, and I am here as the host of this gathering. So thanks for being here. Thanks for being a part of it. Thanks for adding your gratitude and your energy, your recognition of connection, that there are like minded, open hearted people out there. Lots of them. Many of them even vote. But let me pull back on that because I do not mean to imply that being open hearted and like minded means that we are politically similar. In fact, yesterday, one of the things I'm grateful for is a lunch I had with my dear friend Dimitri, who does, well, a bunch of amazing things, but we're talking about the need for a future church like organization, community, an American institution that is not anchored to a specific faith. It is not anchored to a specific dogma or even political leanings left and right, but it is focused on the idea that we're connected and we care about each other and we want the best for each other and we want the best for fellow humans and we want to reduce suffering. We want to be kind uh, and then I think there's a lot of people who are tired of being us and them and who would rather just let that go long enough to recognize the beauty and the miraculousness of our fellow human beings and the shared experiences that we're having at the root of all that we're going through, at the root of all of the things that we think need to be done and should be and wrongs and rights is these core needs. And then we get brainwashed, socialized, duped into thinking one way of doing it is better than another, or somebody's at fault and somebody's guilty of this and that. But the reality is that we just want to be safe. We just want prosperity. We just want to be with those we love. We just want to be protected and we just want to feel purpose. We want to feel like we're doing the right thing. And can we gather under an umbrella of that and just celebrate gratitude of being alive and being human, and from underneath that umbrella see if we can minimize suffering in the world? That doesn't seem so hard, does it? And I think that underneath that umbrella you can be any religion you want. We can teach Jesus's words from that place. We can talk about Buddha's teachings from that place. We can talk about anything. So when I say like-minded, open-hearted people, I am not implying left or right. Welcome. Welcome to Hug Nation. Good morning, Gerbot. Good morning, Juan. Good morning. Painty. Bonk says, sounds like the Dalai Lama documentary, same precepts. Grateful I saw that recently. And good morning to you. Good day. Hello, High Noon. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. Anybody want to share something that they are grateful for? I am grateful that I got a chance to just lay in bed with my beloved this morning. She did not sleep too well. And so I woke up pretty early. We went to bed early. I woke up early and she was already awake. And so I got out of bed and then realized that she was just awake in bed. So I crawled back in and just got to hold her and be in each other's arms for, a half hour. And my goodness, that is a delightful experience for me. And do not take it for granted. There's lots of things that I can get caught up in feeling like I want to do, or exciting things, but boy, do I receive a lot of deep contentment just in the arms of my beloved. I'm grateful for a little Zoom meeting that I had yesterday with my family. We're planning an Alaskan cruise next summer, and I'm grateful for all the research that my dad's gone into it, and I'm grateful for how f- funny my brother is. I'm grateful for the land that this house is on, and I spent this morning. I was going to go for a walk, and ended up just kind of picking up fallen branches and clearing some places that are uh, a little fire risky. So I was just clearing things, and just really enjoyed just being amongst living things. It's so easy for me to spend a day indoors, and it's easy for me to forget how much I enjoy just being outside, especially this time of year when it's not too hot. Oh, that makes such a difference to me. Chris is grateful for the beautiful fall colors. It's at peak. Such an ephemeral thing. They pop and then they're gone. I I don't get that as much in San Diego. And I sent a video to Asher, as well Hug Monster did, and it was asking him if the colors were changing where he lived, and would he go outside and take a picture of a leaf, and it was really cute. But that is certainly one of the benefits of living someplace that has real winters, to get to see fall colors. Oh man. Oh. I am I've weaned myself off coffee, so I'm adjusting to a more consistent but lower amount of energy. Good morning, Urban Monk. Urban Monk's also enjoying the fall colors in Central Ohio. Anybody else want to share a little gratitude? I'm Heinen says, I'm so grateful for meditation, being in the presence and forest community. Beautiful. That's a good reminder for me. I'm grateful for my one of my men's groups met last night, and what really became clear as a number of us were sharing is the need to have, if not meditation, at least stillness and silence. It's so every time I'm almost always receiving input. If I'm going for a walk, I'm usually listening to an audiobook or a podcast. And if I'm cleaning, I'm usually doing that. If I'm driving, I'm listening to something. And I really don't just allow my mind to digest the world and to have thoughts without some sort of stimulus attached to it. So I'm grateful for that awareness and reminder. And I put in my next month commitments to, and I said twice a week, but we'll see. I mean, to have walks or drives where I do it in silence. And this morning, as I was cuddling, I was very just appreciating just being in silence. Urban Monk says, I am grateful for forgiveness. I finally forgave an old friend for an old grievance. I don't know why I held on to that anger for so long. I am so glad I finally let it go. Congratulations. That can be massive. I think forgiveness is, a important aspect of life. I think people often feel like forgiving it somehow erases the the deed, or it acknowledges that what the wrong is wasn't wrong. And that's not forgiveness is not saying it's okay. It's just saying, I'm not going to hold on to this anymore. I still remember that you did that thing, and I'm still going to adjust my behavior around that. I'm just not going to hold on to anger about it. I'm going to forgive the dog for biting me, and I'm going to keep it on its leash. There, we're good. Or no anger, just open heart and free thoughts. Good morning, Yamil, or good day. Yamil says, grateful it's not hot anymore. It's prep time for Love Burn. Also grateful our camp is joining forces with another camp, and together we are going to have bikini parties. We are going to supply the garments, and they will host the parties and runways. Woo! When is Love Burn? I forget. Is it February or March, something like that? Good to see you, Yamil. Have fun. Email says, also grateful for reading the article you posted recently about your story. So cool. I'm glad you got to read it. It looked, when I tried to click on it yesterday, it looked like it wasn't there anymore. Love Burn is in February. Beautiful. Thank you, Urban Monk. I am grateful for my partner, Lisa, and the thoughtfulness that she puts into her self-awareness and her awareness of others. I'm consistently learning and being inspired by how she moves through the world, and how she explains things, and how she shares her thoughts in life. I just feel so lucky. Rose says, grateful for humanity finally seeing the truth of what needs to be done. I am not a monster for my efforts, but am now embracing my inner goblin. Urban Monk says, Love Burn 2026 is scheduled to take place February 5th, 5 to 8. All right. The theme is the island of broken toys. Well, I've certainly had some fun times at Love Burn, but it is not on my agenda this year. Lisa is beautiful inside and out. High Noon says, grateful for those who created electric stoves. Home fries are so yummy with eggs cooked on it. Oh, man. I'm coming over to your place. That does sound good. Chris is grateful my fellow RV mates from Burning Man were able to gather for a Zoom on Monday. From France, Australia, California, Chicago, and Arizona, we all watched a video together our one mate made of the past burn. Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. It's pretty neat what we can do with technology. In fact, like yesterday when my family was together, we were on a Zoom, and my brother found a video blogger that did like a walking tour of the ship that we're going to be on. And we got to kind of go, oh yeah, okay, that's what those rooms look like. It's funny. My dad didn't quite understand. My brother was just playing a video, and my dad's like, wait, go to the left. What's on the left there? My brother's like, I can't, I can just go forward and back in the video. I can't control the view, at least not yet. Urban says, what did you feel when you first met Lisa? Well, I speak about this frequently, but my first thought was that she's out of my league. And we met over the course of a weekend at a retreat. And then on the second day, I believe, I just, we just were, we're so vibing. And I had this voice come up inside me that just said, like in my head, like a literal voice that said, you are absolutely worthy of a woman of this caliber. I asked her out and she said yes immediately. And from that moment, my life changed. Actually, my life changed about 48 hours earlier when I had a therapy session that was profound. And it was that therapy session that started the healing that allowed that voice to come up. And it was also that same healing that inspired me to go to that retreat. I was led to her. Not yet. Yeah, I mean, actually, just this. It's actually not that far in the future. Thank you, Emil. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about when we, I coach some men who are wanting to find their person. And in the process of dating, sometimes you swing and miss, or you ask someone and they say no, or you start dating and then they say, I don't want to see you anymore. And it's easy to feel like that's rejection. And well, it is rejection, but it's easy to feel like that means that you've failed or you're not good enough. And it's easy to feel like they're out of my league, or and we have this feeling like there's some people are better and some people are worse. Like, oh, you're a 10 or you're a 7. Like, well, that's you could make rankings like that in terms of like traditional standards of physical appearance. This person is closer to what Western culture has decided is what a model should look like in a magazine. You are not. Your body type is less like that. Yeah, that is you could make those types of less than, greater than. But other than that, as far as how we connect and match with people, it doesn't work that way. It's either a fit or not a fit, a connection or not a connection. It's like I heard this great. I wish I could remember who said it, but an actor was talking about how this director was explaining when they are casting for a movie, they're not looking for the best actor. They're looking for the actor that plays this part the best, that would match this character. It's like he says, like a reverse mystery. Like you got the murderer. Now you want to go backwards and figure out now who would be the murderer of that in this, mystery. And sometimes the person that's the most talented actor is just not a fit. And so it's the same with dating. Someone who's the most beautiful or the most charming, or I don't know what standards you might apply. It's not about better or worse. If someone rejects you, that just means you're not the murderer in that mystery. You're not the right actor to play that part. And then we date because sometimes it's a mystery. Sometimes it's not clear. Sometimes right away, like when Lisa and I met, is like I had blood in my hands. I'm like, I'm the murderer. You are the victim. This metaphor isn't very helpful anymore, is it? Anyway, the point is, sometimes immediately, like, oh, this is a crazy cosmic lifetime connection. Now, sometimes those feelings aren't what we think they are. And sometimes it takes a while. You're investigating and you realize, oh, this person says that they are dependable, and I have been treating them as if they are the person that they say they are. But over months and months, I realized they are not the same person. They don't act in a way that they say. Or I have been when I've been hearing certain answers and filtering them through my projections, and so now it's taken me months and months to realize, nope, this is not the right person to play this role, the role which is partner to me. But it's never about out of my league or not, or too good, too not, it just doesn't work that way. High Noon says, one day I'll make y'all High Noon special of eggs and home fries. I look forward to that. Urban Monk says, I am one of those men who is looking for a special someone, but really afraid of putting myself out there. It's hard, but hopefully what I just said makes sense. Like, it's putting yourself out there. It's if you're not risking rejection, you're filtering out the wrong person. It can feel like rejection. And so that's the one thing that I work with people on is like, hey, like, no, that it's so easy to feel like the same true with with a job. Sometimes if you get fired, it makes you feel like, oh, I'm not good enough. Like, you're just not the right fit for that job. Um, our egos really want to beat us up, but if you spend your energy trying to be and as authentic as you can and try to heal and remove the obstacles to your truth, you try to heal the traumas so that you can act not from old patterns but try to be grounded in love and compassion. If you just work on doing that and then be authentically you, then there's nothing that's out of your league. You're just perfectly uniquely you. And you just gotta just let people see that and be that in the world and make yourself happy. And the perfect person is gonna go, look at them. They're happy and they're who they are and that that's attractive. But that's not what I said doing it. That's not easy. It's not a simple thing to just, oh yeah, I'm just gonna heal all my stuff and I'm just gonna make myself happy. But the path to finding your perfect partner is not one of learning how to pick up women or something like that. It's a path of inner personal work. That's my opinion. Um, Chris says, right, Robert De Niro may be the best actor, but Jared Leto is best for the role. Exactly. And yeah, exactly. Urban Monk says, I like the way you said that, filtering out for the right person. Yeah, it's so, you know, and every time you realize that person isn't right, every time you put yourself out there and it, you get rejected, like, and you build resilience, every everything that you do towards meeting the right person is beneficial. What we feel like is rejection, it helps us to work through the big fear obstacles, like my recent chorus experiences, like the just doing it and making mistakes week after week made that big scary mistake feel less scary by the end, and it wasn't as debilitating. The same is true with dating. If you ask a woman out every week, the first time that someone says, "Oh, I'm sorry, no, I'm busy," it's gonna feel so terrible, and you're going to wanna just crawl under your blanket for the rest of your life. But if you do it next week and, "Oh, sorry, no, I have a boyfriend." Oh, it's gonna hurt, and then the next week, someone's gonna be like, yeah, okay, yeah, maybe." But after a while, you're gonna be like, Okay, I'm just these are it's I still don't like this, but what felt like a no, well, turns into like a yuck." The beginning of my chorus when I made a mistake, I was like, "You fucking suck, John." And by the end, I was like, "Whoopsie." So progress sometimes doesn't look or feel like progress. Juan says, "When Bambi saw his love, he just knew 100%." And I think that while that does happen for some people, I also know many more couples whose love grew, you know, partially because we grow, and depending on when you meet somebody, like I was, you know, the person that we are when we meet someone is going to be different than the person that we are 5 years later, 10 years later, and so the way we grow, hopefully together, is important. I was talking with Lisa yesterday about because I think she is a exceptional. She is more disciplined and dedicated and reverent in her spiritual and growth path. And I just have this little fear of like what happens in 10 years when she's, you know, fasting 30 days at a time and going off into mountain caves and meditating for months at a time and she doesn't I'm not at her level anymore, you know. Who knows, you know? And then she's like, "Well, the path of growth is inner growth, but it's also in compassion growth." So as if if I am truly evolving spiritually, then my capacity for love and appreciation of you will increase too. So not to worry. That isn't his head, but that's how I heard it. Uh, Monk says rejection from women is tough, especially when you really like them. But I just have to change my outlook on dating. Maybe like an opportunity to make more friends, and one may turn into a partner. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. And sometimes, it's it's good to like when you really like someone, I think it's important to maybe sometimes look at yourself and just question like, do I really like them? Or am I becoming attached to what I think they are? Because you never I don't think you ever really know somebody. Over a long period of time, you start to witness their behaviors and their actions and their words and seeing, the way that they human. But people can tell you things, people can look a certain way, they can act a certain way, and then you project all sorts of stuff onto them. I I see it myself, I see it in other people all the time where you're like, "We were like, we'd be so good together," and you're like, "Maybe." And then after some bad experiences, like, "Oh, they're not who I thought I was." Like, yeah, right, that happens all the time. And sometimes it takes a year before you go, "Oh my gosh, they're not who I thought they were." Sometimes very quickly you're like, "Oh, that's you know, they just did this thing that felt really hurtful." I don't, why would they do that? Like, well, they're not, they've got their own stuff. Robot says, you make a great point. One of the secrets I've learned about good relationships is the ability to grow together. Yes. High Noon says, letting go of what doesn't serve us is so much harder when you felt a connection with a being. True. Part-time, welcome and hello. Says, I'm grateful the MRI of my throat was clear. 9 burns under my belt. Congrats. Glad to hear that you are clear. Woohoo. Any other last gratitudes before we head out into the day? But it's Thursday. Oh, I think I'm leaving town tomorrow. I don't know what time I'm leaving. I might not be here tomorrow morning. I think I will be here in the morning. Actually, I could probably check right now. Where is that calendar? Oh, no, I'm leaving early tomorrow morning. So I won't see you this weekend. So I hope you have a gratitude-filled and wonderfully warm, and get to see some nature and hug some people and have some stillness. And I'm grateful for this practice, grateful for all the little ways that these thoughts and gratitudes and conversations help to get my mind and heart in alignment. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk and share. I wish us all growth and patience, since sometimes it's hard to recognize the value in things until much, much later. Wherever you are, let's give ourselves a hug and squeeze one another, appreciating this body, this day, this shared human experience, appreciating one another, forgiving ourselves, forgiving those out there that aren't acting in a way that we would like them to. Let's just try to understand we're all doing the best we can with what we got. Let's take a deep breath in and squeeze. On behalf of Grandpa Caleb and all of us here, thanks for joining me today for Hug Nation Live. I'll see you next week, probably Tuesday. Yeah, probably Tuesday. Have a great weekend.